Hey guys, my name is Elliot, so welcome back to this week's tutorial about Lightroom. This is part 2 of 3, which is going to be about the compositing of the image and how to use those 6 tools that are available here. Last week for the part 1 tutorial, we pretty much did the basics, the colors, and the calibration of the photo. So if you want to watch how that went, you can check the video down in the description down below. Sorry. Okay. Alright. So let's get started. So you want to go to the lens correction tab, which is pretty much going to be about fixing any analog to digital interference that can happen with the material you have and how the photo comes out as. So for example, here we have the correction profile, which is pretty much for depending on what lens you have, depending on the brand and everything like that. It's going to fix any interference that happen in between the physical to the analog to the digital result. So if I check it, we can see the vignetting around it has been removed. So if I go here, for example, we see that we have the brand, we have the lens, and we have the exact lens, for example, the profile depending on what you have. So if we go here, for now we have the colors. This is going to remove any type of chromatic aberration that you have on your lens. So for instance, when you have something exposed to the light, you have certain lines that we have. For example, here we see a bit of red here, and we see a bit of a blue. So this is some sort of chromatic aberration. We see it here as well. It's pretty much how the huge light interferes with the lens, so sometimes you get some interference with the rays that come into the lens. So with a better glass you can get less chromatic aberration, but still it's going to be present no matter what you do, basically. So I'm going to check it, and it's going to fix a bit of it so we can see it's less red, or you can just modify it manually as well, or we can use the little tool here to pinpoint exactly where we want to remove some colors. And we have manual here, which is pretty much all the tools you can use to manually fix the photo. So we have distortion, which is pretty much fisheyes and everything like that. We have the vertical, which is going to be modifying the perspective of the photo. We have horizontal, which is going to be the horizontal perspective of the photo. Rotation, self-explanatory. Scaling, zooming, zoom out, and aspect ratio. Alright, so there's also basic as well, where you have the automatic. It's gonna automatically fix your photo. I don't really use it personally, but it's a nice way to just get a good look at how your photo should look like, depending on how the software interacts with it. So I'm just gonna deactivate it. Levels, just the levels. Vertical, just a vertical perspective only. And complete, it's pretty much going to be like a complete analyst of what and all the tools interact, I guess. But yeah, auto, it's pretty much, oh okay, it tilts a bit. But I think the general normal composition of it was good enough, maybe. But yeah, we'll fix this with this tool that we have right here, which is pretty much reframing, crop, and the angle one. This tool is pretty useful. I don't think it's available for the Lightroom CC, but it's still available for Lightroom 6. I think in Lightroom CC you have an automated button, which is pretty much is going to do it automatically for you. So we just take this tool, we measure it, and we just pinpoint 2 points, and it's going to be making it straight depending on how you pointed that. So for example, I have this. I usually go by eyes depending on how just a photo goes, but yeah, I think this looks a bit better, but I'm not too sure. Actually, I'm just gonna put it back to normal. But yeah, you can also use and unlock this, which is pretty much gonna be letting you crop however you want, depending on the ratio you want to have. And if you lock it, it's gonna be fixed into the ratio that you previously locked it in. Alright, so for this tool, for example, if you want to remove this little branch here, you can use a second tool, which is going to be removing any types of stuff that you don't want in the photo. It's not as good as Photoshop, but it does the job pretty well. So for example, I'm just going to click here, and it's going to try to find a similar path to what the actual thing looked like in the background. So we can see here that there's a certain circle around it because it's not perfect, as I've said, but you can click on it and modify the contour, and just making sure that it's like it's more feathered, more feathered, I think, but yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna remove this. It's pretty much a tool that can help you mask and remove stuff from the pictures. This is a good tool for portraits if you have like if somehow with like a flash or old camera or something you had red eyes in the photo. Pretty much you just point the eyes and it's going to remove the red eyes or animal eyes, as you can see here. Now, one of the tools that I like to use are the 3 last tools. This is the gradient filter, which is pretty much the if I just show it, you'll understand it better. And I'm just going to put it to the max just to understand. It's pretty much like a filter that goes from dark to original, or the opposite, bright to original, depending on what you want to do. What I usually use this tool for is to mask out the sky. So if I'm just going to reduce the exposure, and I'm going to be putting this a bit on the high, depending on what I want to do. But yeah, if I remove it, for example, you see that we have more details on the sky and such. I'm just going to put a bit more of it though, because I don't want it to be too blue, but yeah, anyway. So that's pretty much what it looks like right now. Good. So we have the radical filter now that we can use to have specific points that we want to expose or underexpose. I don't know if that makes sense, but we'll see. It's pretty much like how to create a specific vignetting, I guess, because you have the vignetting that can be like pointed to the center, but this is pretty much the same thing you can do, but like pointed at a specific spot. So for example, if I make it super exaggerated, you can see that, oh, okay, it's here. If I make it less progressive, as we can see, it's pretty much like a vignette, but a more easier to control vignette than what you can get. So I'm just gonna make it actually what it's supposed to be looking like, to me at least. I'm just gonna put a bit, but not too much. I'm gonna put it here so we have more of a focus here on the river. So yeah, you can do the opposite as well, which is going to be the middle spot that's going to be darker than the actual rest. So you can make it bright as well as dark. So I'm just going to put it back to normal. Here you go. Voila. And the last spot is what I use the most for editing my photos. It's the brush tool. What I loved about this tool is that you have such a nice flexibility with how you want certain parts of the photo to be more bright, less bright, whatever you want to do. So for example, I want this photo to have a better look on the river, because I feel like it's an element that should be more looked at than the bridge, but also the bridge should be looked more than what we have. So yeah, I'm just gonna paint over it, and then we can see that it went to a bit darker, but we can modify just a region that we selected. So I'm just gonna put it a bit brighter than before. If I reduce and deactivate it, we have a brighter river. I'm just gonna put a bit more in the back. And voila. And now we're going to do a new. I'm just going to do a smaller brush. I'm going to have it on the front and just remove and make it darker. So now we have a darker front. So pretty much how it looks like right now. We have passed from this to this. Now the look is more here than here. So as we can see, it's pretty subtle, but it does the job pretty well. New. I'm going to do another one on the sky. So we have a more controlled sky. As much as we did the gradient filter, I'd like to have one as well for this. I'm just going to do a line here as well as, so it's not like it does a little transition to like bright to not bright, but yeah. Alright, okay. And I'm just going to do another one, a last one here, a bit darker, so I'm going to do a last one here as well. Just make sure for the trees in the back to be less exposed. So yeah, now we have, this is without the brush tool. We see that the photo is still nice, but it could be better for what we want to look at. And then when we enable it, we have a better look at what we're looking at. So this is not an element we want to look at more than this element. So that pretty much covers the second part of the tutorial. So Next we're going to be talking about the curve preset and how to use those presets to make your photo even better than it was before. So tune in next week for that tutorial, and see you next week.